Are we still a nation of laws? Because we have laws on the books. Um, the illegals shouldn't have been here according to the law, but they're here. And ICE has legal authority to round them up. Now, a lot of the problems could have been eliminated if local police, at least a third or 20%, if local police had locked up a couple of guys and then called up ICE and said, all right, we got these guys, we're giving them over, we're cooperating with you. That's what they've always done.
Right.
You know, these agencies have cooperated with each other. And if there was cooperation between the agencies for ICE to perform a legal function, a lot of what you see wouldn't be happening. But they're stoking up these people to block your car and charge them and harass them and dox them, dox them.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that the ICE agents have to walk around with masks on. That's very uncomfortable. But if I was an ICE agent, I wouldn't want my face out there and these people using my image and looking at the families and everything. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what the answer is. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Markets and Madness, the place where we discuss the madness that occurs when economics, politics, and personalities all move in different directions. Tim and I again. How are you, Tim?
pretty good. Went to the dentist, so I might slur a little bit.
All right. You got your Novocaine in there, and you.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking today? All the talk is about the Fed and Trump. And, you know, I've said 1,000 times that Trump thinks in three or more dimensions. He would be a guy I would never play Scrabble with because, you know, you want to find, I wish I had an L. And an L gives you three words. You get one going up and one going down. And so he's found, first of all, the guy's, how many times have you heard him do something where he said he's out of his mind, and then like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, you find out he was actually right. So I was thinking about this, and for him to take on Powell, I think, first of all, he's a builder, and he knows what money buys. And he's looking at this thing and saying, this is obscene what this guy is
$1 billion,
spent
right? It
to
was a
renovate the
billion
Fed.
dollar budget. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over $1 billion, I think. It's the rounding error is like 23 billion, you know. So he's looking at this and he's saying, this guy really blew it. He spent way over and above. It's coming in the face of Doge and looking at
Minnesota, everything that's going
yeah,
on there.
looking at public spending and going out of control. And he's probably looked at this and said, you know, maybe it's not Powell, but maybe somebody's got their hand in the till. And Powell has signed off on this, and he shouldn't have signed off on it. And I'm trying to get rid of the guy anyway. So maybe this all works. And the market's not looking at it that way at all. The market's looking at it and saying he's using politics to get rid of Powell, and maybe he is. The market might be right. You know, I wouldn't put it past him. Who the hell knows? I mean, he's, you know,
He's vindictive.
yeah. So maybe that's what's happening, or maybe he's got a legitimate situation here.
Yeah, kills two birds with one stone. You know what?
Yeah.
I solved my problem, and I highlight this guy's.
I got an L. It gives me elevator and it gives me levitate, and you know. So that's another thing. I look at Iran and Venezuela, and all of the side issues that roll with that. I mean, if he replaces the regime in Iran now, are you talking about? I mean, it solves Israel. It cuts Russia off from the drones that Iran is supporting, so it's more leverage in getting it into the war. I mean, there's so many different variables that it impacts. So this guy's an experience. He is really an experience.
Yeah, and you have the other side of the aisle that just screams and says this guy's just playing. He doesn't have a clue. He's just rambling. Whatever thought comes in his head, he's running with it. So I've seen that on social media a couple of times today from a few people.
Yeah. And, I mean, you talk about Venezuela and Iran. Imagine controlling the oil in Venezuela and having some impact on Iran. It really sets OPEC and it gets him. And I'll tell you where he's going. He's going back to, I want you to price oil in dollars exclusively.
Right.
That puts us back in the reserve
We've been talking
currency.
about that for the last couple of weeks
Yeah.
about saving the petrodollar, and it certainly is playing out that way.
I don't
Venezuela
know.
is
I
is a
mean,
huge
maybe it's not true, but as you look on the horizon, you say there's a maybe a 30-40% chance of this actually coming to fore.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Iran. It's not making any of the mainstream media. It's been very
Well, I'm
quiet.
starting to see it now that they're talking about bringing the Shah's son back.
Yeah, it's a week later, right?
Yeah, that's
Thousands
true,
dead,
though.
thousands dead, and now the media is just starting to pick it up. Yeah,
I
very
think that's
sad.
one of the reasons gold spiked the way it did.
Yeah,
And they hit the dollar on it. But I wonder, is the dollar being hit on what's going on in Minnesota, this civil unrest that we have here? Yeah.
yeah, we talked about that last week too. I think the dollar is coming down, and granted, Trump said it late in the day, but if the Supreme Court rules against the tariffs, he says we're screwed. That was his quote. So,
Yeah, that would hit the dollar in a big way.
and he said it's going to take years to figure out how we pay, who we pay, when we pay. This is going to take years. So that whole debacle, but he's got some other plans. He says if that falls through, he's got some other plans, some 150-day tariffs that he could put in place. I was reading a BBC article about that this morning. But yeah, that's a problem. And we don't know when that's coming. It's
Yeah.
it's
The bond market does not like this thing about the Fed.
yeah.
That's clear, you know? Uh,
Independence is in question. But
Yeah.
we knew that. He's been pressuring the Fed for as long as he's been president, not just this term, the previous term as well. He's always pressuring the Fed.
Yeah. But, but getting rid of him by indicting him, I.
Yeah. I, he plays every card he can.
Yeah, it's true.
He plays every
And
card he can.
for all we know, somebody's taken $50 million and put it in the bank or sent it offshore. I mean, who the hell knows? $1 billion to renovate that building. I've never heard of anything like that in my life.
And I read something somewhere, I don't know how true it was, that they said that they were renovating a basement that was basically on swampland. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. They're
You're-
putting new elevators, and a fine dining. I mean, it's really,
right.
yeah. And they've been talking
Egregious.
about that for the better part of a year now.
Yeah.
That,
Egregious overspending.
yeah.
And it all goes back to Doge and Musk. You know, we talked about this
And
in
speaking
April.
of Musk, he went to dinner with Trump last week. So
Yeah.
they kissed and made up, it looks like.
Yeah, they did. When was it? They were sitting next to one another at some event a while back. Yeah. Um, I'm a big fan. I think you can't fade Elon. You know, there's a lot of talk about his Starlink IPO coming out this year, where that's
Well,
going to
they're
go.
talking about Starlink in Iran, dropping Starlink over Iran
Yeah,
to get the
yeah,
internet back, I guess, and to get communication back. He's a player. I mean, he's technologically involved in so many things. I mean, sending a guy up to rescue the space shuttle guy, and
I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Don't
yeah.
bother yourself.
So,
He is.
what do you think about the markets this week?
Um, you mentioned gold and silver, and they've been a big part of my portfolio. And today I started to take some profits.
I'm keeping the miners. I still got the
Yeah,
miners. And,
I still got the miners too, and I still got gold. But silver, the rise has been so meteoric. It's been,
yeah.
you know,
Well, congratulations. That was a great play.
yeah, it's
Really
it's been
nice.
good. I sold some of them. I sold some upside calls against it, going out some low delta calls. Take some premium in. If it does come out and rally up, all right, I got another $10 in it.
I bought a defense stock about a month ago. I did the reversal, and it's a nuclear. They're making small nuclear
I
plants.
remember. Yeah, Okla, is that it?
No, it wasn't.
OKLA is
No, this is BTSL or something.
okay.
They make small nuclear units, and primarily for the military. So it's a defense play, and it's a play for nuclear. And I think the other ones that are going to do real well are the gas generators for AI to solve that electrical issue for AI
Do you see what
powers.
Trump said when you talk about defense stocks? See what he said about Raytheon over the weekend? He said they're not playing. They're not playing ball. I forget the exact quote, but basically, if they don't, I don't know if it was executive compensation or if they had to change something. He says, or they're not going to be selling to the Department of Defense, the Department
Wow,
of War. Yeah,
wow.
it was a strong. Now I don't know what Raytheon did today. I didn't look at the stock on a Monday morning, but he said something over the weekend. You
Wow,
could Google
that
those.
would be a big deal.
Yeah,
I know he did something, not only limiting, or he's trying to, whether or not he's going to be successful, I don't know, but limiting the pay to a $5 million number for
right,
CEOs,
right.
which I don't like at all. Yeah, this is, this government is just too far into corporate policy.
I
Um,
agree.
the Intel purchase and this, and you can make arguments for it, but I don't like it. I don't
It's
like it. I think,
precedent, and you see President AOC. Where's she going to do with that? President Newsom.
well,
What's he
yeah,
going to do
and
with that?
should we blame Biden because the government was picking winners? So now Intel. I mean, I got a theory about that, and this is part of the two-dimensional issue. I think he sold Taiwan down the river
Right.
and said, "Wait until we get our own. We replace Taiwan Semiconductor. So you can have it, but you can't have it yet." I think that's part of the deal, but who the hell knows?
Do
I
you
mean,
think it's a
nothing
play
goes
to,
wrong.
to go short the semiconductors?
Me? No,
Yeah.
no. Lighten up, maybe, but keep some. I mean, that's the key to the next century.
Yeah. But if something happens in Taiwan, the first move is going to be down.
Yeah, but you got a ways for that. I mean, we're at least a year away from that. And by the time that happens, if I'm right, Taiwan's not going to matter to us because we'll have replaced that whole semiconductor piece.
Building infrastructure here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what was behind the Intel move, to tell you the truth. But this is all guesswork.
Yeah. Yeah. What else regarding the markets? We talked about the Fed. Um, Minnesota is still out there. Rumors that Waltz is going to resign. I don't know how true that is.
Well, you know, I guess if I were going to write something today, the way I feel, I would be writing something that says, "Are we still a nation of laws?" Because we have laws on the books. The illegals shouldn't have been here according to the law, but they're here. And ICE has legal authority to round them up. Now, a lot of the problems could have been eliminated if local police, at least a third or 20%, if local police had locked up a couple of guys and then called up ICE and said, "All right, we got these guys, we're giving them over, we're cooperating with you." That's what they've always done.
Right.
These agencies have cooperated with each other. And if there was cooperation between the agencies for ICE to perform a legal function, a lot of what you see wouldn't be happening. But they're stoking up these people to block your car and charge them and harass them and dox them, dox them. I mean,
Yeah. I don't like the fact that the ICE agents have to walk around with masks on. That's very uncomfortable. But if I was an ICE agent, I wouldn't want my face out there and these people using my image and looking at the families and everything. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what the answer is. Yeah.
and it's not like they're doing. I mean, they're performing a legal function. I thought that blocking what's obstruction. This is an obstruction of justice charge. But who files that? The Justice Department. You're back to the feds now. You got the local government, you got the state government, you got county, you got all these different people, and then the feds. So it's a very confusing situation.
Funny, you say that. I guess it was during COVID. I was speaking to someone who I felt was very conservative. I lived in Florida, and they didn't like your governor at all. And I said, well, why is that? And she says, I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to listen to. The state says one thing, the local township says something else. I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to. And that's the problem. You have these local governments at odds with state governments, at odds with federal governments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sanctuary city is the best example, but the drug laws, I mean, there's a lot of places where, you can be, it's like, it's Orwell.
States have rights, and there are independent states, and states have rights. And we talked about that with abortion many years ago when that first broke, that if you don't like the rules here, move to another state. But you still have to enforce some of the federal laws. If they leave it up to the states, if there's no federal oversight, then federal law supersedes, right?
Well, as you get to the state level, but even the local level, you got mayors and cities declaring what the law should be and what they want to enforce.
Right.
It's a
Everybody's
very
got an
complicated
agenda.
picture.
Yeah, everybody's got an agenda. It's very sad. But just get back to the markets. Where does this leave, pal? When does this term up? Is it the middle of the
May.
year?
His term
Yeah.
as chairman is May, but he can
Right.
stay on as a governor.
Right.
And now he's going to, I would suspect, because he's going to dig in now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Unless of course there's somebody that's stolen money
This
and
is
he
small
signed
business.
off on it, and that could very easily happen. I mean, this guy's focused on markets, and some guy gives him a chit, and he signs off. Okay, well, this is construction. I don't have anything to do with it.
Right. Right. And they're going to nail him to the wall for it if it's true. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, when you're in
Iran.
the legal realm, it's different. I was an expert in a case, and I got cross-examined. It's a very weird feeling to have some guy, some attorney, trying to make his career by destroying yours.
Hmm.
He doesn't know you. He doesn't know you from Adam. He could care less. You're in a spot. And if somebody, 5 years ago came over to you and said, I got to leave early. Can you sign off on this? And you scribbled your initial on it. You didn't pay attention. And all of a sudden, some attorney is sticking this in your face saying, is this your signature? Did you sign this? You don't even remember. You have no idea. So Powell could be in that position. Who the hell knows?
But you would think when it gets up to over $1 billion, that you would want to look in and say, what are we really spending this on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the position Walls is in.
Right.
He's either complicit or stupid, and I don't know which one's worse.
He's both. he's he's inept
Probably.
and he's stupid. Yeah, and he's complicit. Yeah,
Well,
without a doubt.
again, I saw volatility spike this morning. VIX was up by something like 6% today.
Really?
Yeah, it went from, I don't know, 13 to 16 or something like that. And the volatility premium, at least in the morning, I don't know about the afternoon because things slowed down. I think the market actually turned green
Yeah,
late.
dude.
So VIX might have come down. But like we've been saying all along, buy volatility. You can buy puts and calls and be right both ways.
Yep.
These premiums could just explode on you.
Yeah,
So
got to trade that.
that's the message for the year. Buy vol. Trump is a volatility um, blessing. You know,
Speaking to
He's-
someone last week, and he says, overall, I did okay. He said, but Trump killed me. He made a statement, boom, the market crashed. And I waited, 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 finally had enough, bailed, and he made another statement and went right back up. He said, so that's the way it's gone. Yeah,
volatility. You
yeah.
buy those out of the money calls and those out of the money puts, and they're
And
going to
wait.
explode one day.
Yeah,
This market's capable of moving 3% in an afternoon. You know,
yeah.
and somebody asked me today, when we sold off this morning. I said, well, you got to see really three big down moves because the buy the dippers are still in there. You know,
Very
market
much so.
drops off, Dow drops off 600 points. They come in, they buy the dip, and that's got to happen three times. And the third time it happened, they're choked up and they can't buy anymore, or maybe they bought too much. So
Mhm.
you got to see three significant down moves before we have a plunge, what we'd call a 10% correction. At least that's the way it feels.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I've been waiting for it. I just think the market has got so much froth in it. To use a Greenspan term from way back, irrationally exuberant.
Is it
Everybody.
irrational though?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's irrational when you look at the moves that we've had in so many stocks and so many metals, and it doesn't it defies logic. And I know you talk about the earnings and the possibility and the potential. Think about what happened to the internet. When we first broke, everybody bought everything. It's going up forever until everybody was choking, and then
But I'm talking about math. I mean, if you're trading at 60 times or 70 times earnings, you say this is insane. And
right.
then all of a sudden they come out with earnings and they've tripled earnings, way beyond expectations and everything else. Now your multiple is 30 or 35. It's not 70 anymore. And the next time they come up with good earnings, that multiple is 20, 25. You're talking about forward projected earnings, and they're changing the baseline. So, yeah, I mean, I can't dispute it. I'm reluctant to buy the right side of the chart, but I can't refute the level of earnings. I mean, I just come back from the dentist, you know, and this lady put something in my mouth, and all of a sudden there was like a 3D image of this tooth that I broke. We didn't see that 2 years ago, right? That goes to the lab, and all the numbers are there. The lab, presumably, they'll be able to click on it and see all the measurements and everything else. And you know, this is we've never had anything like this. This is really a new world.
I saw a clip with Elon talking to someone saying, "Don't go into the medical field. There's going to be no doctors in 10 years. AI is going to do it. You're going to have AI. Put all your data in, and AI is going to tell you what you have, what you need."
And before you get there, I think you're going to have one doctor looking at 7 screens, you know, or a nurse practitioner even looking at 7 screens and calling the doctor and saying, "Hey, doc, take a look at screen number 5, will you?" And
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a brave new world. I just
yeah,
think that the market's gone way too far. Talking
well,
about people saying they're up 60% in the last year, up
there I
40%.
would say to you that that's true of individual stocks,
Well, I'm
and
talking about people with portfolios saying I'm up 60% in the last year. I'm up 30% in the last year. It's like we've never seen that.
no,
We've
the
never seen
closest thing to it was 2000 before the dot-com crash.
that.
Anything that had a dot and 3 letters after it was bought and frothy. And only 2 out of 10 were going to make it. You know,
Right?
Google was one. You can really think of all those names that were big names back then.
I think AOL, right? AOL was buying Time Warner. It was
Yeah,
huge. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, now you got Netflix buying the motion picture company. Warner, is it? Yeah. Streaming video. What the hell was streaming video? You know?
I remember,
Yeah.
Netflix originally came out, they were delivering discs to your house, right?
If I would have said to you in 19 or in 1880, I got a railroad stock, you know, but we're there. We're at that point. It's a really
Yeah.
interesting time.
I just have a hard time in my gut being long. I just ran some things on my portfolio, and I'm net short, and I'm comfortable, and I go to sleep at night, and I'm still making money because the way the portfolio is set up. But I could not be net long here.
Well, I got three short positions in my portfolio and probably 20 longs. And inside the longs, I got metals, I got graphene companies, I got quantum computers,
Right. The
um,
drillers, yeah,
and some defense,
yeah.
and drillers and oil service companies. So, you hope the ones you don't like go down. When you see a market plunge, you can take it. That's the way I played it. And one of them did bite me in the ass, though. I was short the Carvana, and that beat me up. They put it in the S&P.
Right,
And anybody doing the baskets at the S&P's got to own that one. So
right.
no matter what they look like, you got to have it. That'll end this week. My options expire this week, and we'll see.
Yeah, I
Maybe
got a
I'll.
couple of things coming due on Friday. Couple coming due at the end of the month. But I've been rolling my short positions, my short, risk reversals out, and I sleep at night. I feel better, and the portfolio's done very well. Knock wood. It's been
Well, the metals really. What you think? Well, I got a shopping list in the event of a crash. I'm looking for Tesla. I'm looking to buy some Google if we get down there. Maybe add to IBM and Microsoft. Those are solid companies. They're not going anywhere. Maybe Netflix. I don't know. Yeah, boy, I tell you, they're in every house. I mean, I watch a movie every night. You know, Landman was terrific last night. Did you see it? Oh, it was very good. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. I should be able to eat in 5 minutes. So, okay, Fred. Bye.